Hello guys, welcome to Romjohacks YouTube channel. Before we start, I would like you to take time, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you watch all the videos which I've been able to upload as you expect for more. So today we are going to look at vulnerability assessment. And vulnerability assessment is basically the process of trying to identify whether your system, maybe your web application or your computer, has some weaknesses which can enable a hacker to penetrate into your operating system. So that is basically what we refer to vulnerability assessment. Checking whether your web application or any other system has some loopholes. And what we mean by loopholes, they are just vulnerabilities. Today, we are going to use a tool known as Nikto. Nikto is one of the tools which comes pre-installed with your Linux operating system. And for us to use this tool, we need something we call a lab. It's always illegal to test someone's web application or any system without permission. That is the reason we have to come up with these labs. And if you don't have any lab, I would refer you also to one of my videos which I've come up with on how to set up your lab for penetration testing practices. So, and this lab is known as OWASP, Broken Web Application. So the moment you install that OWASP in your virtual machine, the virtual machine or the OWASP is assigned an IP address, and that is the reason as to you can see my OWASP has been assigned an IP address, which is the one displayed right there. So what happens, you just need to open your browser, open the browser, and then you type the IP address for that OWASP. So the moment you type the IP address and then press enter, you'll find that web application is a collection or OWASP is a collection of different vulnerable web applications. And you are allowed or you're authorized to use all these web applications based on what you want to practice at a particular time. So all these are vulnerable web applications and you're allowed to interact with them. You're allowed to test them. So that is what you mean by a lab. And because we have a lab already set up, so the next task now is to see how we can or check what this Nikto tool is. Nikto tool is a tool which you can run it, which you normally run it from the command line interface. So we need to open the command line interface right here. I'll open my terminal. And now I type Nikto -h. So first of all, you can check the man page for Nikto, man and Nikto. So if you want to get a description of what Nikto is, you can see is a tool to scan for web application or web server for known vulnerabilities. And then we have some deeper description that you can go through all that information, and then after you are done, you press Q to quit. You can also check the help page for Nikto. You need to type Nikto -h for you to get the help page for Nikto. So the moment you type Nikto -h, there are some different options here which we are going to use, and we are going to use one of the options is we have already used help. We have hosts, which is a very important options which we will be using. And this host option is the one which you can see right here, -host. So now let's assume we want to scan our lab here, or we want to scan any web application. So what happens, you just need to use, or just type Nikto -h and then the URL. So this -h stands for or represents the URL which you are, or the URL for that web application which you are testing. In this case, I'm testing my WASP here, which I've hosted within my local area network. So I just need to type the IP address here. Need to on that 8. So the moment you type that, now you can enter and check the output or the results. But if you before that, we need to use sudo to make sure we have all permissions to run and Nikto. So then after that, you enter. You prompted to type your root password. So you type your root password, and then Nikto will start scanning your web application. So as you can see, we are currently using, so we have some very important information here, which we have been able to identify using our Nikto tool. And one of them is the IP of the web application, which we are testing, and also the target host. We have the port we are using, port 80. So with the Nikto, you can also specify the port which you are targeting. That is the reason as to why we have this option here, -P or -port to use. The default is 80. So if you fail to specify the port here, your Nikto will just use port 80 by default. Port 80 by default. So as you can see, we have also identified the kind of, or the type of server which our target machine is using. And as you can see, is Apache 2.2.14. Apache 2.2.14, and also some other informations right there. So right now we know now the type of server my target is using. So that means I can go ahead and research whether that server is vulnerable to a particular attack. Then after that, I'll come up with ways of trying to mitigate. I can either update the server or have some other mechanisms of trying to protect that server from all those attacks which have come to realize. Then we have some other informations which you need to go through. Here you can see we have something like outdated, appears to be outdated. So that means you need to update. You need to update. So if it tells you, if Nikto tells you something, it's outdated, you need to take some measures and go ahead to update. We have some directory indexing. So that means we have a directory test. We also have another directory images. So if you want to check what is under images, I'll show you that in the next tutorial, the vulnerability assessment tutorial, the second one. This is just I wanted to introduce you to Nikto. And then after that, after you know how to use Nikto to scan for vulnerabilities, now you can go ahead. So in the coming tutorial, I'll just give you an idea of how to try or how to update all these information which you have gotten right there. So if you want to save your output or your results, you can also do that. So let me clear my screen, then type Nikto -H. So we have an option for saving, which is -O. So that is, if you want to save your output, you just need to use, so Nikto, then the -H, the target, and 60.3.138-O, and then you type the file name. You need to type the file name. So here I'll use hackme.txt like that, and then I enter. So my output will be saved into this file here, hackme.txt. Then you enter. So you give your Nikto some time to finish the scan, and then check whether that file has been created and whether that information has been saved inside that file. Good. So Nikto is done with the scan. Now we need to check whether our file has been created, which is .txt. We just need to list. Then as you can see, I have my file right there, hackmain. So I can just open and check what are the content of the contents of that file using the text editor known as Romjohacks. So as you can see, now I have the report of what my Nikto identified. So saving your results or your output is very important when it comes to writing a report, because if you are given a task to scan someone's web application or someone's system, you need to come up with a report which you forward or which you present to the person who gave you that task. So saving the results is very, very important, the skill which you should have as an ethical hacker. So thank you for watching, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. I'll be coming up with another tutorial trying to explain how you can now use this information to find out what vulnerabilities do exist within your target. Now, because already we have this information, which we need to put in the actual context, which we need to go ahead and interpret. So stay tuned. Thank you.